Welcome to the whole 9 yards. It's a full slate in the NEC for the third week in a row. Hello, everybody. I'm Ralph Ventre, and I'm here to set the table for Week 3 on the gridiron. All 7 NEC teams will be in action Saturday, September 13th. Let's get right to work with our no-huddle preview. We start with the Duquesne Dukes. Head coach Jerry Schmidt's team will be the last NEC team to open up its home schedule. They'll do that Saturday at Rooney Field against Pioneer League member Dayton. These two local rivals have met each of the past 3 years, with Duquesne winning all 3 of the matchups. Saturday's contest pits a top run team in Dayton against a top passing attack in Duquesne. Dayton rushed for 317 yards in its season-opening win over Georgetown. Meanwhile, through 2 games, Duquesne is averaging 335 pass yards per game. That number ranks 6th in FCS. Moving on to another regional rivalry on the Week 3 docket, it's Wagner at Monmouth as Staten Island meets the Jersey Shore. These two sides are rather familiar with one another. In fact, Monmouth head coach Kevin Callahan cut his teeth as a member of Wagner's staff in the early 80s. Wagner head coach Walt Hamline has 217 career victories, 11 of which have come against Monmouth. Monmouth, however, holds a 1-game edge in the all-time series. One area to focus on Saturday will be the fatigue factor. Wagner has played 2 road games, one at Georgetown, one at FBS member FIU. Monmouth, on the other hand, had a week off after a season-opening win over Delaware State. One burning question in Week 3 is whether the Blue Devils will bounce back. Central Connecticut head coach Pete Rossimondo leads his team up to Worcester, Massachusetts for a bout with Patriot League member Holy Cross. After a stunning season-opening win at Towson, Central Connecticut was unable to get it going against Albany in Week 2. Central and Holy Cross, well, these two teams actually met in New Britain last year, where the Crusaders ran for 419 yards in a 52-21 win. The good news for Central Connecticut, though, is their run defense looks much improved over last year's. We'll see what shakes out with Holy Cross and Central Connecticut in Worcester, Mass. Can Bryant beat a second CAA team this season? Well, the Bulldogs will give it a try when they host number 20 Maine on Saturday in Smithfield. Bryant, which is off to a 2-0 start for the second straight season, topped CAA member Stony Brook on the road in Week 1. Head coach Marty Fine would love to see a win over Maine, which he views as a model program.
And we don't want to lose this week. We're going to try our very best. Maine finished the season last year number 3 in the country, I think, during the regular season. We're undefeated other than a Big Ten loss, and then the last game of the year, New Hampshire clipped them. But they're terrific. They're one of the best 1AA football programs in the whole country. Their coach has been there for 20-some years. Coach Cosgrove does a terrific job. He finds really good players from places far away from Maine. And they go up there and they do an exceptional job of competing at a high level on a national basis. And that's hard to do. We're not at that point yet, but that's what we're striving to become. And we're going to do it the right way. We're going to do it with class like he does. We're going to do it with academic integrity. We're going to do it with good athletes. And so we're trying to combine all those things to have great success.
Maine may be a bit fresher on Saturday, considering they've only played 1 game in the season's first 2 weeks. Fresh or not, Bryant's defense has been ferocious, allowing only 21 points in the first 2 games. We featured defensive end Jeff Kovitz on the program before, but how about his line mate, Madaka Wanakisi? Wanakisi had 4 tackles for a loss in last week's win over Merrimack. 3 matchups to go. First, St. Francis at James Madison. SFU nearly shocked the CAA member in last year's meeting, Can they get over the hump this time around? Junior running back Kyrie Dixon can certainly help the Red Flash's chances of an upset if he were to repeat what he's done over the season's first 2 games. With 392 rush yards, Dixon is the national FCS rushing leader. As for JMU, their passing attack produced 2 long touchdowns in last week's win at Lehigh. You can bet that the St. Francis secondary will be tested early and often come Saturday. The good news for the Red Flash, though, is they have some experienced players like safety Lorenzo Jerome and cornerback Daquan Minter. Minter had 2 interceptions in last year's game at JMU. Patriot League member Lafayette is taking on an NEC team for the 2nd week in a row. Robert Morris would certainly love to follow in Sacred Heart's footsteps. Sacred Heart defeated Lafayette last week 27-14. RMU is coming off a 16-13 defeat at North Dakota, but the Colonials discovered a new dangerous weapon. Freshman running back Ramses Owens is the FCS National Rookie of the Week, according to the Sports Network. Owens totaled 237 yards from scrimmage in the 16-13 defeat at Big Sky member UND. Can he help carry the Colonials to their first win under new head coach John Banaszak? Finally, it's back to Fairfield, Connecticut, where Sacred Heart will play its 3rd straight home game. The Pioneers are 2-0 for the 2nd year in a row, and they'll take on Division II member Assumption at Campus Field. Sacred Heart's offensive weapons, quarterback R.J. Noel, running back Kashada Spence, and company, certainly get a lot of attention, and rightfully so. But the strength of this team through the first 2 weeks has been its defense. The defense, which is ranked 8th nationally in points allowed per game, has given up just 10.5 points per over the first 2 weeks. It's no coincidence that this group is loaded with grizzled veterans like Troy Moore and safety Gordon Hill. Somebody please give me a Twitter timeout. In this weekly segment, we feature one NEC football-related tweet. This time, we take a look at Chris Capella. He's a writer for Rivals.com, Robert Morris's Colonials Corner. Capella was watching RMU at North Dakota last Saturday night, and he was rather impressed with rookie running back Ramses Owens. He said he loves the way that Ramses runs. And how could you not? The freshman showed speed, power, and elusiveness en route to his breakout performance at UND and eventually earned a national honor from the Sports Network. And now for the final segment of our show, let's take a look at X's and O's. It's time to feature one NEC player on each side of the ball. First, on offense, the spotlight is on St. Francis U running back Kyrie Dixon. We assume you know about Kyle Harbridge, the former Walter Payton Award finalist who graduated from St. Francis this past May. Well, thanks to Kyrie Dixon, the St. Francis U rushing attack hasn't missed a beat in Harbridge's absence. Sure, it helps that they have some experienced big fellas up front in the trenches, but Dixon deserves some credit as well. Hey, he's only the national FCS rushing leader through the season's first 2 games. So keep an eye on Kyrie Dixon as the season progresses. Now on the defensive side of the ball, let's turn the attention to Sacred Heart senior safety Gordon Hill. Hill, in all-conference selection last year, is truly a master of many trades. Sacred Heart head coach Mark Nofri said that we ask a lot of Gordon, and he does everything we ask at 100 miles per hour. It also doesn't hurt that Gordon has never missed a game or even a practice as a 4-year starter at Sacred Heart. Not only does he have the athletic ability, but the intangibles are there too. So there you have it. An exciting Week 3 lies ahead for NEC football. If you can't get fired up about this, I don't know if you have a pulse. Anyway, thanks for joining us here on the Whole 9 Yards. I'm Ralph Ventre for NEC Front Row, and we hope to see you again next week. Enjoy the games, folks.